right, so I was wrong. Jaws is pretty fucking great. So much so that I figured I should actually just record quick again, because there are a lot of listeners, and to continue to spread negative opinions of the game, whether they're true or not that they weren't true before or that I still don't have some wiggles with it, I want to support it. I never want to harm the reputation of games, mind you. That's never the intent. It's always just the opinion, because that's what podcasts are for, right? Like honest, just, hey, reactions and truth and no bullshit and marketing and all that. But yeah, so right to it. Hello, welcome to the Pinball Party Podcast. My name is Jason. I have somewhat of a frog voice because it's a little early. As I talk, it will become more velvety because that's just how the human vocal cords work. Good morning. Jaws. Oh man, I did a 180 on that game. When I first played the game, go back and listen, whatever episode it was, I very much said this is very likely going to happen because Jurassic Park was the same thing for me, almost to a T. When I first played Jurassic Park, I thought, what the hell is wrong with everyone else? Because this game does not speak to me, the shots suck, etc. Granted, at that time, I was a little less in the obsessive part of the hobby, I guess, to put it plainly. But I still did not like it long term. Oh my God, love Jurassic Park. And Jaws has much has much more quickly become one of those, oops, my first impressions they weren't wrong. So I'm not like saying my first impressions were somehow inaccurate. Oh, hell no. They still stand. My first impressions, in fact, remain true. I don't think this is a great location game. Not that it's not a great game on location, earning wise and theme wise. Stay with me. I mean more for the amount that's in this game and how it really does not hold your hand to tell you. Is it the Dark Souls of pinball machines? No, it's not. But I mean, I wish it was. But it's more in that vein of you're not going to go to the arcade and play Dark Souls for like 5 minutes and be like, oh yeah, I fucking love this game. You'd be like, what the fuck is this? This is the worst. And that's how I felt about Jaws. Like, you don't really learn the rules on location. You don't have the time. I say you. I'm not saying everyone out there, this is 100% true. This is my mindset when I play pinball games on location, especially ones that I haven't played before. It's really, I'm kind of trying to just feel the shots, get to a multi-ball, and try to learn, like, how to start a mode and try to replay it, right? And Jaws does not really communicate that as well. So at the the top of the funnel, to use a sales term, it's very, as I said before, and I still stand by that, obtuse when it comes to the rules. It's not like, yeah, you bash the boat and like that will start like an encounter, but it does a lot of other things, and the encounter is a static mode on each shot, as in it's not like a rotating thing like Star Trek or other games where the modes are kind of random based on multiple. It just has a lot to it, is the TLDR. In home, when you get past the air balls and everything that can be wrong with it, you start to, you allow yourself, or the situation allows you to, all right, take a breath, take some time, learn the shots. I never really thought the shots were technically a problem. Even, well, on location, the center ramp tends to bend down and can halt the ball's movement, which is busted. And, well, I mean, the air balls get wrecked is definitely a problem. But as far as shot physics and feel, they all, at this point, a lot of them feel pretty great. I don't think any of them have, well, the center shot is very satisfying. Oh, it's very satisfying. And the right ramp thingy, orbit ramp, very satisfying. So much, it's a very left flipper heavy game, in my opinion, and I know that because my fucking repetitive strain tendonitis is flaring up, and I haven't been able to play in 2 days, which is ultimately what sucks. Jaws is making me like, oh man, has it been pinball this whole time? Maybe longtime listeners of the show know I have some. It's not carpal tunnel. I've had all the tests. I've gone through physical therapy from playing a lot of guitar, typing for work, and doing a lot of repetitive motion for weightlifting. It's finding out which parts of my life are contributing to the tingles in my hands and the numbness and the weakness in grip. But it's my left hand, so yeah, it's not that. And I have a journal that I write down what did I do that day that would impact it. Did I play guitar? Did I type? Did I do a push workout? Did I do a pull workout? And then I rate my tendonitis feelings. And the day after Jaws, that shit went to 10 out of 10. I'm like, fuck, god damn it. Why is it the stuff in life that you enjoy doing harms you? What a cruel joke. And I mean that sincerely. Like, I'm falling in love romantically, not sexually, with Jaws. And my price is physical discomfort. Thanks. It's tough enough to find certain joy in life sometimes when everything hits you at once. If not from like the world is falling down mentality. But, we all... 100% of your days are not just smiles on your face and everything is great. So when you find joys in life, for me, I guess specifically, there's things that I very much get passionate about. Obviously, music, pinball, whatever. Right now, Jaws. But when I do it, it harms me. God damn, that is so fucking dumb. So you wonder sometimes why you have a cynical edge. But so that's when Jaws is so good that it's causing me pain. But having the game in home has not been the only thing that changed my mind, because in fact, it's a double-edged sword. If you listen to the last episode, I talked about the airballs and stern support, which was unhelpful, and they still never responded. I did ask them to close a ticket. I thought maybe they would do the, thing of like, oh no, sorry, sir, or you don't have to call me sir, but just, oh no, we totally get it. Like, it's frustrating. Do the thing. Happy sandwich, if anyone's familiar with that kind of metaphor in a message. Nah, you're done. Cool. So yeah, that has not improved, and that's just an objective thing. Like, come on, this is ridiculous. So yeah, I fixed all the air balls. I made a little meme. Oops, all air balls. Maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't. It's tongue in cheek because it's really, I like the game. If I didn't, I wouldn't do that. It's more of like, yeah, hey, this is a problem. It really is, and that so many people have to fix it. But fixed all the air balls, all the physics issues in my game. Fixed them all. It took longer than expected, but that coupled with the in-home ability to really digest the rules, which still are not intuitive at all. A couple things are, but it's only they're intuitive now because I know them and I spent a lot of time either playing it or watching the Pinball Company. Travis Murie had a couple. Well, he has a couple of really great videos for Jaws, but one more recently. It is code .87, so that is not null and void by any means. The David Hasselhoff strategy that he has was helpful. And I don't know about all of you, but I watch a lot of those tutorial videos, pinball tutorial videos, when I'm on the treadmill. Yeah, that's my favorite time to do it. It's just a small little detail. Yeah. I'm usually walking with a crazy high incline. If I'm like running, I'm not really paying attention to pinball. Then I'm listening to like, Metallica or Meshuggah. I'm not listening to Meshuggah. It's not true. Pantera, something like that. But so the having it in the home, fixing the air balls, having the time to digest code, having the time to look at rules, and 0.88 code drop was fucking crucial. The wizard mode, cool. 4th of July, great. Whatever. No. That's not it. You can skip all the video modes, the video clips, basically that you would want. All of them. I mean, you can email in. Oh yeah, but not this one. Shut up. I mean the ones that you all want to. Like multi-ball is going to start. Skip that shit. Mode start. Skip that shit. You can't skip the harpoon shot, but you shouldn't be able to because that's like a get ready, build the tension, 3, 2, 1, hit it. Yeah, it's great. That to me was like, thank the maker, to quote C3PO. Oh, because I don't need to explain it, but maybe I do. The video assets are cool, but when you're playing a game and you're looking at the playfield, not the screen, you look at the screen for like sometimes just to check how many spinners do I have for my bounty, things like that. I don't want to watch for the 15th millionth time someone chum or throw a bag of shit at, what's his name? You know what I mean? Quinn's Shack little video thing. I'm gonna skip it. But when you can't, it's like muscle memory. Like, well, I'm hitting both flippers, and randos are looking at me like, "What are you? You got Tourette's? What are you doing? Why are you hitting these flippers? Nothing's happening." Well, now you can be like, I'm doing something. That's what I'm doing. That was a giant boon. I haven't gotten to the wizard mode. I haven't tried. Because my fucking arm is it's all messed up, and I got to take a break. And hopefully, when I play it again tomorrow, maybe even today, it doesn't come back. But if it does, like, that's not like then I'll just play once in a while. Like, to be into pinball as much as I want to be, to do a podcast, writing jingles for other podcasts, for fuck's sake, I got to play pinball a little more than like once every couple of weeks. So it's a big deal to me. Like, I hope pinball is not the main contributor, but isolating these things. I can't just take a day off of typing, because dictation in Mac OS and Windows is dog shite. And trust me, I know audio, and it's dog shite. That is the review. And the third-party apps are also dog shite. They break with updates and all that. So, yeah, I'm tempering my, like, now I want to buy all the mods for Jaws and not sell it and yada yada, but it's still up for sale just because, yeah, it is what it is. But, so, yeah, having Jaws in home, the things that I've absolutely grown to love about that game, and are that there are things similar to Jurassic Park. There are things similar to Iron Maiden, both of which I absolutely love. And those two things are, in Jurassic Park, completing certain, let's just call them monsters, dinosaurs, Jaws, sharks, of like, all right, you start this thing in Jurassic Park, hit a few rescues, rescue the dinosaur, hit the helicopter shot, hit the yellow shot, and you've done it, and keep moving on. In Iron Maiden, the thing I speak of is I love the collectathon stuff that they do in Metallica, but in Iron Maiden, I think it's done right. And the way they do it in Black Knight Sword of Rage, without carrying over, what I'm getting at is I love the way Iron Maiden does it, of hit X ramps, hit X spinners, and then something happens. And it's like this steady progressive thing. So you combine those two of my favorite Elwyn rules, and not sure if he's the one that came up with those, but whatever, it's part of his design. You combine those into one thing, the bounty, and then once you do it, you get a permanent perk, and permanent perks that actually make a difference. Eureka. And it's a challenge to close these bounties, but then if you do it, you feel like $1 million. You really do. And you know what would never happen is figuring that shit out on location after a couple games. Like, oh yeah, okay, so of course I hit this arbitrary shit, the reels, and then it starts a bounty. Okay, and then the bounty, then it makes sense, right? Hit all the pops, hit the spinners. Okay, got that. All right, and then there's a green shot lit in the reel. Of course there is. And then you hit that. Okay, now there's a multi-ball. Okay, there's a multi-ball. You have to do all this progress in that multi-ball just to collect the bounty that you already thought you collected, and then you get a perk. Yeah, of course, that's easy to figure out on location. Like, yes, if you live next to like Bad Penny or Lit or somewhere that has it, sure. But again, from my area, we don't have a lot of games around, so to drive a couple hours to do it, it's not conducive to, let me bring my novel with me, and then after I drive a couple hours, I'm going to spend 2 hours on this thing that I may or may not like and spend all this time, and it's just not how it goes. So Jaws is so much a home-based game, and once you learn it at home, then yes, you could maybe play it on location, but then it is a long playing game, I guess is what I'm getting at. Similar to Godzilla. I mean, Jurassic Park is kind of like, it's either a short as hell game or it's a long game. But Jaws, from my experience, once you learn it, a lot of the shots are pretty safe. In fact, the most dangerous shot is the center most easy shot. In a way, depends how it kind of dribbles back down. It can maybe go straight down the middle, but the going out the left out lane, you oftentimes have a ball save with your little button there, which is very forgiving. And please don't change that. Don't make it like Black Knight Sword of Rage, where like that button basically isn't that. You have to be a precog to get that magnet to stop the ball from going in the right out lane in a Black Knight Sword of Rage. But in Jaws, it's perfect. Some leeway to the left. So the bounties, which are my favorite thing for sure, probably a lot of people's, because it's such a cool task. And then learning, okay, this is how you start modes, which is it is obtuse, all of this stuff to a certain extent. I don't think it's. I don't know what the solution is. I'm not saying, oh, you did a bad job, anyone. No, not by any means. It's the price you pay for complexity. Same with when I kind of likened this to Skyrim a couple episodes ago. Of you're not going to play Skyrim in the arcade for 5 minutes and walk away, or Dark Souls, like I said today, with like a super positive experience, because you kind of just scratched the surface and you didn't even see what the game is about. Like an RPG or a game that like the game that is the combat feel in something like Skyrim does not lend itself to like, ooh, that felt great. That's like a quick Call of Duty, like adrenaline rush. It's like, it's a little janky, but then when you start peeling back the layers, you realize, oh, it's janky because there's so much in this game, and like the act of actually playing it to a certain extent almost takes a back seat to the more grandiose experience that it's delivering, similar to Jaws. Granted, Jaws does shoot great, and it will either shoot great, or if it's got the airball issues, which are plenty and very common, that will hinder it. So it's got some things against it. It's got the physical design tendencies to be oops, not great, or oops, all airballs. It has this super deep code that at first glance, including myself, I'm like, I don't get it. And nor should you. Or starting the fish finder modes. Like, unless you have a history of knowing like inspirations of this game, like, how bloodbath is done in The Walking Dead, or knowing some of the like almost the insider information of pinball things, that is not intuitive at all. Okay, so to get one of those mode starts, of course, I hit these arbitrary blinking lights that maybe light that, and then for it to actually qualify, it has to go into the flip lock button, which has to be turned on as well. I'm saying this very layman terms. That has to be qualified in addition, and then when you hit that rollover, and you have to use the flip lock or have it not hit a switch, and then hit the fish finder, and then that thing works. What the fuck? I get it now. It still doesn't make sense, really. Or maybe the way that I think about things, it's not solidifying. Like, we all have our way of finally feeling comfortable about certain things. I'm much more of a visual learner. If someone tells me like this big problem with like scheduling and numbers, let's say, I'm lost. But if I can visually look at it on like a keynote, or just like write it down and draw it out, oh, I got it. So that's somewhat how Jaws had been previously, until I can really see it and like take the time to like, all right, I have to see this in action. I have to see myself playing it in a way. I can't just watch people on videos or on location and, wondering why are people updating their metal bushings for the reel? That doesn't make sense. Makes sense now. Got it. Or why are people having air balls? Come on, it's not really that big of a deal. Oh shit, it's a huge deal. Because if that area launches, let me put it this way. If you have air balls and you don't fix it, on the chum line air balls, the chum plastic, where you hit the fin, if you have air balls there, you can't hit two of the most important shots in the entire game to progress. Yeah, like the right ramp, which is to start bounties and to start quins and do all that, and the real shot, which may be the most important shot, and Well, may not be, but it is severely important. And uh, little quiggles aside, it's awesome that every shot in that game has like equal importance. Um, some slightly more than others, but really, you can tell after you get through the stages of, let's say, grief that I displayed verbally of this game doesn't make sense. What the hell's going on? It's obtuse. The ball's everywhere. It doesn't work. I don't get it. Yada, yada, yada. And then you start realizing, like, okay, wait, nope. Oh, okay. Oh, shit. That once you get through all that and you start to see the reasons for all this, is just there's so much in there. There was so much care taken for each shot. Like, you can start to see how they were thinking about each parts of it. And it sucks that you just don't get that on location with this game. You have to spend a lot of time, or maybe I'm dumb. Maybe I'm just a dumbass and I don't get it. But now I do. In this, of you get the nuances and even the sound effects of why certain sound effects are there at certain times, and the real sound effect is so good. And it's a small thing, maybe to some, but it just it's tuned right. The fact that there is it Drunken Sailor, or what is the Irish song? What would you do with a drunken sailor? What would you early in the morning, or is it another one? I do know my Irish songs, but it's write in. Correct me if I'm wrong. If it's not Drunken Sailor, what is it that plays when you do? What is it? Is it the Celebration multi-ball or Rescue multi-ball or something? That's anyway. Little details everywhere that is just a chef's kiss in a way, and I'm still learning a lot from it. But the more I learn, the more I like it, and to like I went through like almost the reverse honeymoon phase where my first impressions were god damn, but probably because it had such a big target on its back, to like, oh, and it's busted, like, oh god, really, like, what did I do? And then to see, all right, there is a ton here to absolutely love, but it remains true that unless the game is set up almost perfectly, like a lot of it doesn't work right. But hopefully it remains popular enough so that stays fixed. Or I should say, we have enough support in the community to help each other out as these things happen. And it will remain popular enough until the accessories come out. Let's get some art blades. So I've reordered my personal Keith Elwin list, and it has skyrocketed up to second place for me. So Jurassic Park is first, and then Jaws, and then Iron Maiden, and then Godzilla and AIQ. And not that matters, but that's just where I'm at. I don't really see it dropping, honestly, from that. Is there a... I don't know if there's a way that it overtakes Jurassic Park for me, but I did get a couple of those little, like, sparkles in my head of, like, it might. I don't think it can ever be as... straightforward in a way, but that's kind of a benefit. It won't be as linear. And as much as I love Jurassic Park, it can be linear in the very beginning. The first maybe a couple paddocks, just because you're kind of just going through the motions if you're really trying to, well, do everything as efficient as possible. I have this thing about not wasting shots. It's really fucking stupid in my head. Like, well, I could hit that shot and I can qualify that thing, but I want to stack a couple things to do it first because I don't know. I really don't know, so I'm going to move on. And it makes it linear in the beginning, and Jaws has a very similar rule set built in to there somewhat. The bounties is kind of like can replace the paddocks. The modes, Jurassic Park does not have. I say it does not have. Yes, it has control room. Those are kind of modes. But those are kind of more like the fish finder, let's say, modes. I think that Jaws actually just has this extra layer that Jurassic Park does not have. I mean, so it's got the modes. It's got the modes. The encounters are the modes. Then it has the fish finder kind of modes thingy. And then it has the bounties, all of which, in my opinion, are somewhat unintuitive in the beginning to figure out what the hell. And then the multi-ball, which is also somewhat unintuitive and what the hell. of like, again, I get it now, like narratively. Okay. You're starting something to qualify it. You're getting a bunch of blood in the water by like hitting the chum bucket or other red shots or the chum bucket. It's kind of like, why are these shots red? Well, it's this. It's kind of strange. And then the yellow shot starts the harpoon first, and then it's the multi-ball shot afterward. It's just kind of like little things like, that could use a little tightening up or a little more explaining. Something's just not clicking with me. But I think it has all the random Keith Elwin little specials of like these little hurry ups here or there, or if you do this enough, then you get this little perk on the side, and these little things that like pip it. There's the real awards up top, and the button at least does more than Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park, really, it's just, paralyzing a dinosaur in a spot from getting a rescue, which don't use that much. In Jaws, you seem to use it more. So positive, very positive is my current day, 5 ownership of Jaws, and I don't see it going backwards. So yeah, it's doing well. The video mode is fun a couple times, but then honestly, it just kind of, it's great. Of course, it has to be there. The 3D has to be there. All that, it has to be there for sure. You got to do it. I don't know. It's not one of my favorite video modes. I guess insert a video mode, and it's not my favorite video mode until they make a awesome Mario video mode in a Nintendo game. Not to say that that's the only thing ever, but that's what I see really happening. Of you take an actual video game, which Jaws's video mode is a video game kind of thing, yes. But it's the controls are very aloof. It's very soft. Like those aren't the right adjectives maybe. Like in Dracula, you shoot something. As soon as you hit the flipper, it shoots. Bam, done. It's very tactile and instantaneous. This is more like in Venom, which everyone, you're all huge Venom players. All the Venom games you play, that video mode where there's a little bit of like you hit the button and then the thing happens a little bit afterwards. So the timing isn't as satisfying as something quick. I do like when the great white, I think it is, comes at you fast and the music changes quick and you're like, oh, hit that. That's cool. But maybe that's more of like, I wish the whole thing was faster. Maybe that's kind of the thing I'm learning. But, the video mode, maybe you could skip it and just cash in. I haven't read it because you're always presented with 2 choices. Do the 2D video mode or do the 3D video mode. And I've chosen the 3D to see it. And it's like, okay, I won't do that again. Not a big deal. The 2D is on the right, and maybe on the bottom says you can skip it. I would rather skip it and just take like 10 mil or something. I just don't want to play it. But that's just kind of video modes. It's been said, but I'll say it again. For my words, the lights are pretty great in the game, especially Night Swim. Yeah, it just dims it. Everything but those inserts, and I just want to fucking play the game. But I can't because of my wrist. The lights are great. The only thing I would change on the lights, and it's something I can totally just do it, is specifically, in the lights, why are all the GI cool white, which is great, but then the apron lights are warm white? What are you doing to me? You can tell that there's like this fighting of whites at the bottom of the apron. You see all the it's cool white GI because it has more blue in the spectrum, and that makes sense to a certain extent for the blue and the water theme. Okay, I'll take it. And then your apron lights are warm white, so you see this kind of slightly yellower, warmer light conflicting with the cool white, and what the fuck? It fucks with me. I want to change that to cool white in the apron. Or I got to change everything else to warm light. It really is this dissonance you can see. Check it out. Maybe you won't unsee it. I apologize, but I don't like that. I want to change those out for cool white, but you have to change them. They're the PCB LEDs that have to solder, which okay, but maybe I can put like a little blue film filter through there that may take the edge off. That's what I was getting at before when I first said one thing I would change with the lights is a couple of the white, this is very common in like Foo Fighters or Iron Maiden when there's just a lot of white inserts. So you get like the film. I use the film, which is the same thing that like I forget who it is, Pinmonk or whoever sells those gel inserts. Quote, it's really just like this colored film that has transparency. I would put the Shoot Again to be probably like a blue or a light blue, just to cut up that all the white down there to make it stand out. So I know when Shoot Again is lit, I'll probably put a blue film over there. You can buy like a pack of them, way too many, on Amazon for like $10. You get this huge stack that you'll never use. So instead of spending a bunch of money on those gel inserts, which, I mean, support them, and that's easier for sure. It's plug and play, but you pay for the convenience. You can buy these gel inserts on Amazon for cheap, and you have more than you will ever use in your entire life. And you can just cut them to the size you want and just tape them underneath the playfield and change any white lights to whatever color you'd like. You could choose orange, green, blue. Pick a color. It's in there. Purple? Sure. Poop? Brown? You got it. Yeah, that's what I would change the Shoot Again to be like a blue. So I might do that. And I know I'm kind of going all over the place. This was kind of an unplanned podcast, so forgive me. I just really wanted to puke about Jaws a bunch because I'm falling in love with it. My shark eats the ball all the time, so often the ball will get stuck in there, and then it'll either ball search or it sometimes can tell. I bet it's like got some trigger being or a switch being triggered when it's sitting in there, so it'll open back up and puke it out. So that's something, but it's really not that big of a deal. It's nowhere near the only big deal I had was the air balls, aplenty, tons, but yeah, those are fixed. It shoots great, and they are right. I say they as in internet people, podcasters, other people who have talked about the game, that it's fast, as in like you can't really keep your eye off the ball much. I mean, not that you're like, well, yeah, no duh. But there's something about this game where there's oftentimes I'll find myself needing to look at the screen because, again, some of the rules are not super coherent and I need to check status of something, like my bounties. And even looking at the screen at the right time, like, oh my God, I drained. Like, it's happened 5 times at least because the ball is going all over the place. And it adds to it. Don't change that, please. I love that about it. Is the thing. If it's too easy, it's a Lord of the Rings, which I love, but Jaws is different. So to cap off everything, Lord of the Rings is something I want to cap it off with. Double cap, PSS. To cap it off, Jaws is a home game first and foremost. And it's just my opinion of how I learn rules, how I absorb things, how I can actually enjoy what this game has to offer, because I think as like a shallow arcade experience, this is not it. You don't see what's really here. The breadth, the depth, I hesitate to say genius. You know, the word that doesn't actually mean genius, but I mean, he could be, or any of them could be, but it is really, really cared for. You can tell nothing was an afterthought. It wasn't like, you don't get the same vibe you get from like Star Wars or Venom. And this isn't against those games per se, but sometimes there's a game like Godzilla where you can just tell there was thought put into most everything. And anything that maybe you think there wasn't thought put into, code has been changing and they're listening. Like the video modes, oh my God. I mean, code in airball fixes if you can, or that. I mean, that's a battle that they have to deal with regardless. But that aside, the game has a lot and it's only on 0.88 code. So it's yeah. I would bet lots of cash that Jaws will move up on the top 100 Pinside list. I would definitely see it in the top 10. Yeah, for sure. Granted, the airballs get somewhat fixed, and that's not a thing. But yeah. So to cap it off, Jaws is doing great at home. It's doing well, taking care of her. Last thing I wanted to say is I am on the hunt, to use a Jaws pun, for another Lord of the Rings. Yes, and as you snicker and laugh and what a fucking idiot. Correct, mind you. I'm still on the hunt for a really good condition Lord of the Rings. Willing to drive, not as long as I used to, but or pay for shipping. So if anyone out there is looking to sell a Lord of the Rings, I'm not looking for a beater. I'm looking for a good condition Lord of the Rings, either a standard or an LE. But I have a very specific playfield printing I'm after. Not to say there's only like one or two, but they have a very different printing process back then where they weren't consistent. So there's some Lord of the Rings with a very dark green playfield, some with too much red in them, some with not enough of either of those colors, so it almost looks like it's a bleached playfield. I'm looking for a very neutral playfield Lord of the Rings in good to great to pristine condition, willing to pay the normal value for all those, and I do know them oh so well. So please, if you're looking to sell one or if you want to make a trade on something, happy to work with you and see if we can make something happen. Willing to ship. If you want to find me on Pinside, my name is Wild Rover. You will notice the Pinball Party Podcast logo next to my name. But yeah, if anyone out there, help me find a Lord of the Rings. I want to get one this time and not, well, what I want to do specifically with it, other than like pet it and be like, no, is I want to actually make a new Pinsound mix for it and do it myself. I don't know why in the past. Well, I do know time and effort of why. Wait, I know how to do all this. And I absolutely love Lord of the Rings. And why don't I make a Pinsound mix? So that's what I'm going to do. I want to get a machine. And yeah, I can do some Pinsound mixes with virtual pinball and do a little bit of that. But I want to, I want to be attached to a game and love it and pet it and caress it and kiss it and all that, and maybe fuck it. I don't know. I don't know if I will. Yeah, I might. But yeah, I want to make a Pinsound mix, take a lot of time on it, and I'm going to use, of course, dialogue from the movie and music from the movie and isolate the channels in Pro Tools and make it the best quality I possibly can. There's some sound effects in that game I don't personally like, and if I can't find them in certain, probably rear channels in the 7.1 mix, actually it's 6.1, of the Blu-rays, I will make them myself. And yeah, I want to take a lot of time and make a great mix. And there's a couple great ones already out there on the Pinsound website for sure, but I think I can do it even better. So I want to do it for myself, but also for the community. I'd love to it'll take some time, but I want to make kind of the best Lord of the Rings audio package out there, because why wouldn't I? It's kind of my thought. Give me something to do. Give me something to, like, if the tendonitis is flaring up, but I still want to be motivated by pinball, I'll keep making that. So please, if you have a Lord of the Rings you're looking to sell or you know someone, please point them my way. Either email in at pinballpartypodcast@gmail.com or find me on Pinside under Wild Rover. And yeah, thanks for joining for this random Jaws update, and look for another deep dive probably later this week. All right, everyone, take care.